Hi, hello guys. This is Vijay, biology lecturer from Aliba Junior College. As you know that we have got the 10th class board exam timetable, and I hope so you people are doing the preparation for the annual exam. Okay, right. So in that manner, today we are going to discuss about 10th class biological science, state board chapter wise most important diagram based question and answers. The science is the subject where we would able to see the different categories of the question and answers. Okay, conceptual based questions, diagram based questions, the data based questions, analysis based questions, experimental based questions. Okay, so in that category, the most important part of the question paper, especially for 10th class biological science and physical science, the diagram based question and answers. So today this particular video I am going to explain about chapter wise the most important diagram based question and answers in detail, and hope so this will help you for preparing your annual examination. Okay, let's start. Okay, so today we are going to discuss about this biological science. In our biology textbook, the state board textbook, we have 10 chapters. Okay, out of these 10 chapters, there are 6 chapters which are covered with the most important diagram based questions, and rest of the 4 chapters we would expect, especially chapter 8 heredity and genetics chapter, there we would expect this checkerboard based question and answer like monohybrid cross and dihybrid cross, and chapter 9 and 10 we would be able to expect like some project based question and answers. Okay, so today we are going to discuss about only these particular 6 chapters, and each and every chapter are the most valuable chapter that may include the most important diagram based questions. In that category, the first chapter we are going to discuss about here, these are the 4 major or expected diagram based questions. Okay, for example, like TS of leaf, TS, that is nothing but transverse section of leaf, and how the transverse section of the leaf, the internal structures are there, and that we will discuss in detail. Similarly, chloroplast, which is supporting for photosynthesis in autotrophic plants, and human digestive system, the entire digestive system tract. So that based on that diagram some questions may come. So some of the questions we may expect. Similarly, the block diagram of the alimentary canal, the entire alimentary canal, instead of asking to draw the diagram, so they may ask the question like draw a block diagram of the different organs which are involving for the human digestive system. So that is also one of the important diagram we could expect. Chapter 2, here we are going to expect like the block diagram of the respiratory pathway. Okay, so respiratory pathway, what are the organs involving for this respiration, so that we could explain with a block diagram. And next, mitochondria, that is also one of the expected question, based on like the earlier chapter we discussed about chloroplast. So these both are maybe expected diagram based question. Next, human lungs entire structure, internal structure, and what are the organs involved for human lungs, that we should explain in detail. So these are the 3 most important diagram based questions we can expect from chapter 2. Chapter 3, here we have again 3 most important diagram based questions like internal structure of human heart. Okay, so what are the different chambers are there, what are the different valves are present, what are the most important arteries and veins. So these all we should label it, or they may ask the label based questions from the human internal structure of heart. Next, single and double circulation. What is the meaning of the single circulation or double? We also may expect this particular question as a difference based question also. In the other video, we will discuss what are the differences between question in detail. Next, LS of root hair is also one of the most important question based on this experimental based, which is related to the root pressure. So we may expect such a question. Next, chapter 4, human excretory system. Excretory system which involves the entire organs present in it, like kidney, ureter, urinary bladder, the entire structure we should draw and labeling that parts. Then LS of kidney, okay, longitudinal section of kidney. Then structure of nephron, the most important question. And in chapter 5, you see the structure of human brain. Okay, what are the three major parts of human brain? Forebrain, midbrain, hindbrain, and the most important parts, and pituitary gland. So all we should label it by showing the structure. Then reflex arc, we are going to discuss about what is the meaning of it and what are the organs involving for reflex arc. Reflex action pathway, this also like a block diagram, like see in most of the diagram based questions are like, instead of asking you to draw the diagram, they will ask you to draw the block diagram. Okay, so block diagram which shows that the pathway, the entire pathway of the process. Say for example, respiration, reflex action, digestion, there also we may expect like block diagram. Okay, circulation, we may expect a block diagram. So the most important diagrams. Next, chapter 6, we are going to discuss about male and female reproductive system. Based on that, we may expect some questions of the diagram. Human sperm or spermatozoa. Next, fertilization or gametophytic structure. Okay, gametophytic structure of flower or fertilization. They may ask such a type of question. So drawing that the female reproductive part of the flower. Then LS of flower. So these are the most important chapter wise diagram based question and answers. Okay, so now let us discuss each diagram in detail. Okay, let's start. Okay, so first now let us talk about chapter 1. Okay, first let us talk about chapter 1, the most important diagram, TS of leaf, transfer section of leaf. Okay, so before going to draw the diagram, diagram based questions, when you are going to draw the diagram, the most important thing you have to notice that the entire diagram should be on either one side, either right side or the left side, and the labeling parts all should be placed, try to placed in one particular side. Instead of writing all the labeling parts in here and there, that looks so ugly, as writing the labelings in one particular side, that looks pretty good. Okay, and whenever you are trying to write all the labelings at one side, it is the most important thing that you have to first label the thing in before going to write, then make one place a scale here or the ruler here, then rub it in a vertical manner so that all the lines lies on the same plane, so we can able to write the labeling part. Okay, right. So this is about TS of leaf. Okay, in this TS of leaf, the most important labelings are what you see. How to remember the labelings? I will tell you few techniques. See, there are some words which are repeated here. Please look at this diagram very carefully. One is upper epidermis, the other one is lower epidermis. So epidermis twice it is repeated. Similarly, parenchyma cells are also twice it is repeated. You see palisade parenchyma, this one is called spongy parenchyma, this one is called. Both are parenchyma, but both are different structures. Okay. Okay. So when you keep it in your mind to remember for writing the labeling part, here epidermis you keep it in your mind, two labeling you can able to write. One is upper epidermis, the other one is lower epidermis. So two labelings you have got. Similarly, parenchyma keep it in your mind, palisade parenchyma, spongy parenchyma. So four labelings are present on your hand. Okay, right now. Okay, writing all these four, the labeling. the most important labeling which is present on the upper epidermal layer. You can see here, this is called upper, see this top layer and the bottom layer, both the layer you see. Here the cells are uniformly placed, uniform structure, these and this, like a bricks in a building, okay. So these uniform structures are nothing but the epidermal layers, upper and lower. And above this upper epidermal layer, one more covering is there. One more covering, like the bricks present in a wall and we are going to cover with cement. So one more covering, that covering is called cuticle. So keep it in your mind. Above this upper epidermis layer, we can able to see one more covering called cuticle. Very simple. So total 5 labelings you have got in your hand. What are the 5 labelings? 2 parenchyma, palisade parenchyma and spongy parenchyma. 2 epidermal layers, one is upper epidermal layer, the other one is lower epidermal layer. Yes, and one covering, that is called cuticle. So 5 labelings are there. See, most probably the diagram based questions, whenever they are asking the examination, any examination, we are able to write at least 6 labeling parts. 6 parts must be labeled so that the diagram could be fulfilled, at least fulfilled. So more than 6 points if you are going to write, it is most welcome, but don't try to write less than 6 labelings, okay. So right now we have 5 labelings, 2 epidermal layer and 2 parenchyma layer and 1 cuticle layer. 5 layers, 5 labelings we have got it now. Next thing is what, the most important label we are going to do, that is called as stomata. Stomata means very well. Stomata is what? It is a small minute pore present on the surface of leaf. So this upper or the lower, these both are what? The surface of the leaf. So here you can see the air space is there here, an empty space. So here exactly we have one gap here. This gap is called stomata. I have mentioned here, okay. Here also there. So this stomata is present consecutively. It is not, which is present on the surface of the leaf consecutively. A few cells after this gap will be there. And this stomata helps for what? We know very well, we have studied in the lower classes. Yes, for transpiration, for gaseous exchange and for allowing the sunlight for doing the photosynthesis. So many functions are there. So stomata, one of the most important layer, okay. Already we know 5 labeling. Along with that 5 labeling, we have got one more labeling, that is called stomata. So 6 labelings we have got. Yes, and next the most important labeling in this TS of leaf is 2 important cells, 2 important types of cells. Okay, one type of cell is called xylem, the other type of cell is called phloem. Okay, where it will be present? The xylem or phloem we should show in the diagram at the center part of this diagram. Okay, here these large cells are there. These are large cells. You can see here. These are looking very large. Okay, and these are very large size cells, and these are very small size cell, which is just below this large size cell. Okay, so the large size cells are called xylem. The small size cells are called phloem. Okay, very simple. Okay, xylem and phloem, what it does? Okay, in the plant leaf, xylem what supposed to do? It is conducting for water. Okay, the major function of the xylem is conducting for water. Phloem what it will do? Phloem will conduct the most important nutrients. Okay, nutrients are the elements or inorganic substances, whatever necessary for the growth of plant. Okay, so these are the 2 more important labelings. So now already we know 6 labeling plus 2, 8 labelings are there. Very simple. And if you don't remember any labeling, you can directly write one label, that is called some empty space is there here and here. That empty space is called air space. Okay, so where the air will be filled. How? Through this stomata, the air will be coming inside of this leaf, and that air will be placed in that space. So that is called air space. So by this way, we should remember the labelings of the TS of leaf. Okay, so this is the way we have to remember the labeling of TS of leaf, and this is the way you have to show the differentiation of the cells present in the TS of leaf. Okay, you know the structure also, when you are drawing the diagram, don't waste your much of the time for doing or decorating the diagram. A simple diagram, that is more enough. And also along with the diagram, the labelings are the most important thing. So you should concentrate on the labeling, that is very important. Of course, diagram, a rough diagram is also accepted. Okay, right. So in the diagram you can see there the two upper and lower labelings, upper epidermis and lower epidermis are uniform structure, looking very uniform, unique structure. And the palisade parenchyma and spongy parenchyma both are also unique. Yes, but what is the difference between this palisade parenchyma and spongy parenchyma? Spongy parenchyma is just beside the air sac, but palisade parenchyma structure, you can see this, that they are very rigid in structure, very strong, and these spongy parenchymas are very soft in nature. And xylem, which is occupying at the center, and below that phloems are there. So like that, the structure you have to keep it in your mind, and also the labeling also you should remember by this way only. Okay, yes. Now let us discuss about the next diagram. Okay, so again chapter 1, we are going to discuss the second diagram, that is structure of chloroplast. Okay, so this is about the structure of chloroplast. Here also, as I said, before going to draw the structure, the diagram should be either one side, right side, or the left side, and all the labeling should be lying on the other side. Okay, now what we are going to discuss here is the internal parts of the chloroplast. Okay, what is chloroplast? First we should know what is the meaning of chloroplast. Chloroplast is one of the green pigment, and which is which is supporting for the photosynthesis in all the autotrophic plants. Okay, so this structure is involving for photosynthesis process for the preparation of food in all the plants. Okay, first, how to draw this diagram? First, let us draw one oval shape structure. Very simple, just follow my steps and you have to draw the entire structure very easily. So first, draw an oval shape structure with a double layer, 2 layer, and as soon as drawing the structure, make some coins like structures here, wherever it is possible. Draw just coins, a set of coins. You can see here coins are being placed, how it looks like a coin tower. So a set of coins, you have to draw the coin structure, and these coin structures are connected with other coins like structure with like a connecting wire type. Okay, you have to draw the diagram, and wherever possible draw small dots and some crescent shape structure and small small oval shape structure, ovoid like structures you have to draw. That's a very simple diagram. Okay, now here how to remember the labelings of the chloroplast? Very simple. First, two labelings are very easy to remember here. That is what? Two labelings are repeated. How it is repeated? See, one labeling that is present on the entirely outside of the the structure, that is called outer membrane. Similarly, just below this outer membrane, there is one more layer called the inner membrane. Outer membrane, inner membrane. Very easy to remember two labelings. Okay. Next, this structure is structure. Inside of this structure, you can see some empty spaces are there. This empty space is called stroma. That is very important. In the stroma only all these structures are placed. Okay, so stroma is most important part. Like you can see one cell in animal cell or plant cell. Inside we can see cytoplasm, one of the liquid matter, liquid part. Like that, this stroma is similarly like a cytoplasm structure present inside of this chloroplast. So three labelings are in your hand: outer membrane, inner membrane, and the third membrane, that is third labeling, that is called stroma. So three labelings are there. Now you have to remember about the one more labeling and the most important layering. That is what? Before when we are going to draw the structure, we draw a set of coin like structure, remember? So the set of coin like structures are called grana. Okay, grana. We can say the set of coins like structure is called grana. Grana or granum, we can say plural and singular form, grana or granum. So this is called grana. Okay, so 4 labelings are over now. Next, wherever the small droplets are there, the small holes are there, the small droplets are called the lipid droplets, and the large droplets are there like this very big size, they are called starch granule. These starch granules are very very simple to remember. These are the reserve food of the plants. Starch is a major reserve food, right? So reserve food of this granule, that is called what? Starch granule. So these are the most important labeling. Okay, all this set of coins, I said grana or granum, and this grana or granum is connected with a small connecting wire like structure, a thin root like structure or the wire like structure, that is called lamellae. It is also to be called as 2 term, lamella, lamellae. Lamella, lamellae means what? Singular form, plural form. You call it like lamellae or lamella, okay, up to you. So these are the most important labelings present in chloroplast. Okay, now let us discuss about next diagram of chapter 1. Okay, so now we are going to discuss about chapter 1 next diagram, that is human digestive system. Okay, so it's a very simple diagram, human digestive system. So okay, so human digestive system, very simple diagram. So in this diagram, the most important labeling, first of all we should know some basic organ which are basic and the most important organ which are involving for human digestion. Okay, I mean in the digestive system, I mean here the most important organs are, you see, it start from the buccal cavity. Actually, it arises from this buccal cavity and it is ending to the small narrow path that is called anus. So this entire path, the human digestive tract, that is called as alimentary canal. Okay, so here what are the major important parts we should remember? Let us discuss one by one. First thing is buccal cavity, the most important part, that is the the cavity through the nutrients are getting to be chewed. Okay, so through this cavity the food is mixed up with the saliva and to form a bolus like structure, and that is pushed towards to a narrow tube that erect and a very long tube. This very long tube is called as esophagus. Esophagus, suppose you people not remembering such a scientific term, it is very hard to remember, means very simple, it is also called as our food pipe. Food pipe. So through this food pipe the food is getting into the stomach by means of a Weavery action, that is called peristalsis, one of the process, as you know already. So this is what food pipe. The food pipe directly connected to what? Stomach. The stomach, you see, it is looking like an S-shaped structure. S-shaped structure. Okay, and what are the major parts you should remember? First esophagus, next stomach, and where the digestion process takes place, digestion and assimilation and absorption process takes place. And this stomach is connected to a small coil like structure, this is called small intestine. Okay, and this small intestine further connected to this the square shaped large intestine. Okay, and finally coming to the ending to the anus. Now these small intestine are further divided into 3 parts. Okay, if you want to write directly small intestine, you can label directly from here small intestine. Small intestine has 3 important parts, they are called duodenum, jejunum and ileum. So these are what duodenum is the beginning part of small intestine. Here yahan se shuru ho raha. Okay, from here the duodenum that is going to start, I mean the small intestine going to start, and it is getting to be a coiled like structure, that is called duodenum first beginning structure, and jejunum is the middle structure, and ileum is the final structure where the small intestine going to end. Small intestine यहाँ पर end हो रहा, okay. So in this particular area the small intestine is connecting to large intestine. So here if you notice here this where the small intestine meeting to the large intestine, a small hook like structure is there, a finger like structure. This hook like or finger like structure is called appendix, most important part. It is a vestigial organ but most important part in the human digestive system. So appendix one of the important part, and same like small intestine a large intestine be three parts होते, three major parts of large intestine. They are cecum, rectum and colon, okay. Cecum, rectum, colon is finally ending to anus. So cecum है यहाँ पर beginning part of the large intestine, rectum ending part of the large intestine, and in between this part of large intestine is called colon, okay. colon, colon. So these are what? Three parts of large intestine. Similarly, duodenum, ileum, jejunum, these are called small intestine, parts of small intestine. Three parts of small intestine, okay. So finally what happened? The ileum is connected to, the rectum is connected to anus, and through that the waste unwanted food materials are pushed out. So this is what the entire human digestive system. Either we have to notice the most important accessory organ other than the small intestine, stomach. There are some accessory organs are involving for human digestive system. Those accessory organs are three organs we are going to discuss here. One is this part, okay. This stomach, beside the stomach you can see right side and left side, both the side two important accessory organs are there. So here you can see liver. This structure is called liver. It is brown in color or thick brown in color or thick dark red in color, okay. And exactly just below, straight opposite to this the liver, and just below the stomach there is one more part that is called pancreas. So pancreas, liver both are called as accessory organs. They are helping for digestion. They are producing some enzymes. Those enzymes coming to stomach and they do digestion. Next, one more small part present just beside this stomach, that is called spleen. This spleen, what it does to? The spleen will do the most important function of the protection of the lymphocyte cells. Okay, the B lymphocyte cells, T lymphocyte cells. These cells are helping for increasing our immune power in our body against to the infection, any viruses or bacteria. Okay, so these are the most important parts. Other than that, there are few more parts I have mentioned here. And these all are additional. If you want, you can write. So buccal cavity, there we can see in buccal cavity, we have a liquid matrix that is called saliva, and the saliva is secreted from three important glands. One is called sublingual gland, यहाँ पर है नीचे just below the tongue, and submandibular this side, just the cheek side, and parotid, this is also there at the upper part of this cheek side. So these parotid, sublingual, submandibular, so these three are called the salivary glands, three pairs of salivary glands. So they are secreting the saliva. Saliva is helpful for the mixing up of food before going to get the digestion of the food. So that is important. Next, epiglottis, यहाँ पर रहते इधर just over this this food pipe, there is a small slit or a door like structure that would help for the food particle should not enter into the respiratory path, okay. So whenever yes, so whenever when we are eating food and we sometime due to cough the food particle may enter into our nasal cavity, nose. Through the nose, the food particle may come out. Or when we are drinking water, we are getting laugh, or we are getting excitement, or the water may comes to the nasal cavity and it will come through the nose. So that could be prevented by epiglottis. Epiglottis helping to prevent the entry of the food particle or the water molecule from buccal cavity to nasal cavity. Okay, so that is most important part. So this is about the human digestive system. Okay, now how to remember the important parts of this human digestive system? Very simple. I said first the most important part is what? Food pipe. Food pipe कहाँ से आ रहा? Buccal cavity में से. So buccal cavity is nothing but mouth. Through this mouth cavity है. उसके बाद esophagus or food pipe. Very very important. Esophagus spelling आपको नहीं आ रहा, at least try to write food pipe. Okay. So food pipe is connected to stomach. Stomach is S shape. So second labeling we are getting now. 3 labelings till now we have got it. One is buccal cavity, food pipe or esophagus, and third one is stomach. And stomach is followed by small intestine. In small intestine 3 labels we are getting. Okay, what are the 3 labelings? These are duodenum, jejunum, ileum. Duodenum, jejunum, ileum. So 3 additional labelings we are getting, and these are ending to the large intestine, where we are getting one small finger like structure, that is called appendix. Very very important. It is a vestigial organ. So we got one more labeling now. And large intestine starts from this area where the small intestine end. So this square shape structure is called large intestine. In large intestine again 3 labelings are there. See, colon, rectum, cecum. So these are the most important parts in the large intestine, finally ending to anus. So we have got many labelings here: buccal cavity, esophagus, stomach, duodenum, jejunum, ileum, cecum, rectum and colon, appendix, and finally anus. Apart from this, you can write 2 additional important part, that is liver and pancreas. Liver this side, the straight opposite side pancreas. So 2 parts are there. And in the liver again we could able to see small green color, small bud like structure, that is called as gallbladder. If you want, you can write additional information. And this beside this stomach on the right side, there you can get a small spot, that is called spleen. If you want more, you want to write more, some more additional labeling, write about the salivary gland. 3 type of salivary glands are there: parotid gland this side, and sublingual just below the tongue, and submandibular just below the tongue and the cheek side. So both all are there. So these are the different labelings of human digestive system and the most important question. Okay, so now let us talk about the one more diagram from chapter 1. Actually, instead of asking the entire human digestive system, they may ask you a diagram like draw the block diagram of human digestive system or human digestive pathway. Okay, so this is called block diagram. Instead of drawing the diagram, we can make it the organs involved in for digestive tract with a small box. This is called a block diagram. Okay, like that we have to make small box. Okay, so this block diagram, first we should remember the human digestive system in your mind. So first entire human digestive system, first you look it into once in your mind. Then from your mind you can recall what are the parts from mouth to anus, what are the different parts are involving. Let us discuss all the parts. First, food is entering to where? Mouth. From the mouth inside there is a cavity, that is called buccal cavity. If you want to write additional organs, you can write it beside. Okay, so buccal cavity. So in buccal cavity what is there? Saliva is there. If you want, you can write this is additional. If you want, you can write. So these saliva are 3 types are there: parotid, okay, sublingual and submaxillary. If you want, you write this additional information. So from the buccal cavity, the food is entering to pharynx, pharynx to esophagus, esophagus name समझ में नहीं आ रहा, at least try to write food pipe. So coming to food pipe, and through the food pipe, cardiac stomach. Actually stomach is divided into three parts: cardiac stomach, fundus and pyloric stomach. Suppose you see the structure of stomach, it is looking like a S shape, as I said earlier. So the beginning part of the stomach is called cardiac stomach. The middle part of the stomach is called fundus. And the third part of the stomach is called pyloric stomach. If you want, you can remember, or I don't want to remember all these things, are directly I write the stomach. If you want to write, directly you write stomach, nothing will happen. So food pipe to food is coming to stomach. Stomach say directly it is coming to where? Small intestine. In small intestine, earlier we discussed three more parts. Yes, duodenum, ileum, jejunum. If you want, you can write, these are additional. So if you, no sir, I want directly write from the stomach to small intestine, you write, nothing will happen. So stomach to small intestine. Small intestine, from the food, the small intestine, it is entering to large intestine. Again, in large intestine, three parts we discussed. Yes, colon, rectum, and cecum. So these are the different parts. If you want this additional, you write. Don't want to write, only you want to write large intestine, write, nothing will happen. So large intestine, from the large intestine directly coming to anus. Rectum already we discussed, colon, cecum and rectum. Directly it is ending to anus. So this is called, the block diagram of human digestive tract. They will ask this type of question. So when they are asking such a type of question, we have to entirely write the pathway of how the food is entering to buccal cavity to it is expelled out through the anus. Okay. So until here we have discussed chapter 1, all the most important diagram based questions.